This, then, is how bad Hakuoho's left shoulder had gotten. 3 times during the July tournament alone did I wake up in the morning to find it had slipped out of joint, he tells us. It's an old injury which even predates my right shoulder trouble. But I couldn't pull out of July as I was in the front line and everyone's point of focus. Nagoya was his first tournament under his new ring name, and he feared he'd be forgotten by the general sumo viewer. But now the operation is out of the way, he continues, it's fun to prepare for the rebuild. I'm already doing some muscle work and getting that left side power back. I'm looking even 2 years ahead. His sumo school graduation yesterday boosted the feeling of progress. Now, in addition to yesterday, why have debuts such as his, in Upper Division 3, been abolished, you may ask? I can vow it's not due to wrestler complaints, their voices are not influential, and besides, nearly all of them doff their caps to someone who's clearly better. This has clearly come from the coaching side, and especially older members. If you look at the last 4 Upper Division 3 debutants, all have gone to the younger coaches, and 2 to Hakuoho alone. Imagine how well that sits, given their speedy rises to salaried heaven, with the older masters who couldn't recruit them, and who'd long for purpose-built stables of the Naruto and Nishonoseki mold. These masters fear they will always lose out in recruiting to those younger coaches with modern methods that directly appeal to uni-stars. They furthermore resent the fact that their coaching skills are seemingly counting for less. Old is right in Japan, as you know, and particularly in the world of sumo. And if the old don't get their way, they fix things in their favour. In other news, ex-yokozuna Takanohana has suddenly remarried 5 years after divorce. His new wife, he claims, was his first ever girlfriend back in his teenage years, when he'd already made Division 2. Shikimori Inosuke, sumo's leading referee, has finally made it to the highest rank. He'll take up the post of Kimura Shonosuke in late December, and wear the coveted purple tassels from January next year. His elevation had long been delayed due to numerous wrong calls, some of which were painfully plainly wrong. But his character remains liked enough for sumo chiefs to reward him for a short period only. He turns 65 next September and must retire then. Also, this man Jiro has finally acceded to the highest yobidashi post. The coveted rank of Tate Yobidashi had been vacant for the past 4 years, since it was squandered by this man Takuro when he punched 2 of his juniors in plain sight of fans. Finally, Sumo's board yesterday announced punishments for 3 senior staff in relation to the unpaid overtime scandal. Their investigation was triggered this March by an anonymous letter sent to Sumo's compliance committee. 6 months on, we finally learned that office manager Mr. Miyata, while cleared of bribery allegations relating to sumo contracts, has been suspended for a month for bullying, overtime mismanagement, and sexist interviews. Sumo's legal chief, Ms. Hirayama, has been demoted and has now resigned for having bullied staff, cut off internet access without permission, and chronically mismanaged overtime. And a third office chief, whose name I believe is Mr. Ko, has been reprimanded for overtime mismanagement, leaving sumo in breach of multiple government rules. 55 sumo staff have now had their correct overtime rates calculated but have still not been paid. The 12 staff who refused to sign the initial documents on the matter, in protest, we understand, at a gagging order contained within, will have their correct pay calculated once they sign. Only slightly worse, I would think, than what goes on at most traditional Japanese offices, but a reminder nonetheless that all of us who promote and support Grand Sumo should not do so in uncritical ways which allow bad behaviour to go unnoticed.